Being a high school physics teacher, we often find it difficult to gather resources to teach our students about complex physical laws. I'm going to demonstrate how Partners in Learning helps us physics teachers do that by providing resources through a project called Project Tuva. First, go to partnersinlearning-network.com. Once there, you can sign in using your Windows Live ID. If you don't have a Windows Live ID, you can join at this site by clicking the Create button. Once you're at the Partners in Learning website, you can click on the Resources tab. And notice that there's a link called Free Tools. So let's click it. The page that comes up provides you with access to a large array of free tools. The one I'm looking for right now is called Project Tuva. So I'm scrolling down the page, and here it is on the right. Project Tuva makes physics fun with classic lectures in video format. Let's click Project Tuva. You can read about the research behind Project Tuva and play the video to learn and see how it works, but ultimately you're going to want to get Project Tuva by clicking on the link that says Get It Now. A new browser window opens, so I maximized it on my screen as it loads content. When you first arrive at Project Tuva, you have opportunities to view a welcome video, select a video, and learn more about what Project Tuva is. There's also a search feature in the upper right where you can search by topic. So I just typed in conservation. And you'll notice that I can jump right to several places within the lectures provided that have the discussion of the topic which I typed, called conservation. If I want my students to go in and learn specifically about conservation, I could instruct them to follow each one of these links individually. In this example, that's not the way I'm going to do it, so I'll just allow that window to close. I'm going back to the link in the middle which says Select a Video. Now I have the opportunity to review all the videos and pick the one I want. So in this example, I'm going to pick Lecture 6, which has to do with probability and uncertainty, because it happens to be one of my favorite topics and also one of the most difficult topics to discuss with our students. Simply click on the video of your choice. It's going to load the video content and a special amount of content called extras that will appear in the upper right hand corner when all the content loads. This is a classic lecture series by Richard Feynman. This particular segment occurred in 1964. That's critical to the discussion that we have with our students to make it clear to them that the understanding of quantum subatomic particle physics began in the early 1960s and as a result is nothing new by this date and age. Once we're in Project Tuva, you'll notice that we can play our video in full screen. We can pause, rewind, and fast forward our video. We can adjust our volume levels. We can even periodically look for people making comments about the characteristics in the video at that point. These comments will change based on what frame of the video you're in. Along the bottom, I like to call this the timeline view. You'll notice that there's a progress bar. And we can drag that progress bar by clicking and holding and dragging it to whatever point in the lecture we want, so we can save ourselves a little bit of time. Underneath there is an extras little icon, looks like a piece of paper. And if we click on it, it brings up a readable document, if you will, that describes the details of that segment of the video. There are very often links in those details that you can click and visit on the internet to learn even more about the details of that segment of the video. When you're done with the video, the details, we'll close it by clicking the red X. And that puts us back into our video, at which point I can click play again. If while we're watching a video we want to make notes about what the author is describing, we can, in the upper left-hand corner, notice that there's a notes view. So all I have to do is type in, this is the portion of the lecture where he discusses terminology. And terminology is an important part of this topic, as many of the terms used are mostly uncommon terms. You get words like neutrinos and other strange terms. Click the Add button and your note will be added into the Notes field. You'll notice also that there's a Clear All Notes button, so another person could have a different experience while viewing the tool. You can also load exported notes if the teacher or a student exported their notes. You could at a later date load them back into the experience and pick up where you left off. And as I mentioned, if you really were creating notes that you wanted to use to study from, then you could export your notes out. So let's export them out. And we'll click continue, and you'll notice it gives me an opportunity to choose where I want to do it and what I want to call it. So I chose the desktop and I named it Lecture 1. So now I have at least the notes that I made exported out onto the desktop of my computer that I could print them or use them again by using the load feature. I also get an indication on the timeline with this little pencil icon that shows that I inserted a note at that point in the video. There are also notes available by the author, so I can review their notes and compare them to my notes and learn even more. Periodically throughout the video, the extras block will change based upon what's available in the content. If I click the little paper icon, you'll notice that I get another pop-up window with more content that I can read about. If I click on the icon that represents the extra media available, it will actually open another pop-up text box. And I can expand to see more. And when I expand, you'll notice that I can scroll up and down and find how much extra content is available that's related to the current topic of the lecture. So the extra field on the right-hand side lets the student build their own rich experience as they work their way through the content in the center portion of the screen. And I think that's a pretty good example of how to use Project Tuva for a student/teacher self-guided experience through some of the best physics lectures in history.